Sounds right.
Snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Sounds right.
All right. We're rolling. Rachel's podcasting me today.
Right. So Shawn put me on the hot seat, about 6 months ago?
6 months ago.
I was in
yesterday.
Mexico. No.
Oh, the last podcast.
The last
we did.
podcast
Oh, okay.
where you were interviewing me on video because I was in Mexico when you were here.
Right, yeah.
And you got to throw all the questions out at me.
Yeah.
And today I'm going to get to throw some questions out at you.
Yeah, shoot.
Which I think is great.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I spilled water all over myself. So that's why it looks like there's greasy cheeseburger stains on my shirt. But this is just water, so hopefully it evaporates before this podcast ends. Anyway, yeah, Rachel, what do you want to know?
So I want to start at the very beginning.
Oh.
Because when did I meet you? In passing. Was Cass in high school? Was he at St. Mary's?
I was at your house when Cass was not 18. I remember that. I stopped by once I just stopped by the house and then I saw you, but there was, it was just like, hi, like that's my mom,
Yeah. Our house was the gathering
it was, yeah. Your house was super on the block. That was, there was a lot going on in the house.
Yeah.
You guys had a bunch of cats. I remember running around too.
Cats?
Yeah. Did you
I only had one.
Okay, maybe it's the same one.
Yeah.
But he made his way around because I remember.
And the dog Mackie.
Yeah, I don't remember the dog. Are we talking about the very first time we met, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Cass was in high school. We had Mackie. We had
I don't remember Mackie. Maybe Mackie was there. Yeah. I just remember Cass's room on the second floor. There was a cat running around, and I was with Mike as well. Right?
Rosa,
yeah. So then I might have met you then, but I don't think I actually talked to you for years later. Like actually, hi, I'm Shawn. Like blah blah blah. Right? Because I was a kid back then.
Yeah.
And I was an adult, but a kid. Because when I met Cass, he was 5 years younger than me. So we met because we were both at the same waitering job. But I was doing it part-time from university. He was doing it more like his first job-ish.
That was down the Stampede.
Yeah, exactly. Stampede,
rounds,
yeah. Rachel, probably talk closer to Mike.
Sorry, I went away again.
Yeah.
Yes. See, I have the professional here showing me what to do.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that would have been back in... Well, it'll be in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Mid 2000s. Mid 2000s. Yeah.
Mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm old. I'm dating myself, but I graduated high school in 2003.
I was 12 at the time.
Right.
Kidding. So you went to high school. Were you born here in Calgary?
Born and raised in Calgary. Yep.
Yeah. And your parents?
Nope. They're from Hong Kong.
Yep.
Dad immigrated here when he was 17, but he's older than my mom by 4 or 5 years or something like that. And then he met my mom later when she came here when she was 17, I think, 17, 18, in that range. So he was in his 20s going to university. Mom came down. I think mom did high school down here. Yeah, she did do high school down here. Maybe just for 1 year or two. I can't quite remember.
So she come with her parents?
Nope. My dad came here solo. Like he was scared shitless. Yeah.
17.
Yeah, he never
Kudos.
seen snow before. He actually had a panic attack at the airport and tried to go home.
So did he arrive in January?
He arrived. I don't know when, but he arrived. He actually arrived in Red Deer, I think, because he didn't come to Calgary right away. Because over in Hong Kong, there was this push for people from Hong Kong to move to Canada to go work in oil and gas, essentially.
Right.
So then that's how my grandpa kind of, from what I understand, he was telling him, hey, no Chans have gone there. You should go out there and, try something different. Because he kind of recognized my dad is, smart in a way. Like, I'm not saying uncle, his older brother's not smart, but dad was the chosen one to go just like your guest Vivian from last podcast episode coming from the Philippines. It was the same thing. So dad,
I think she was sort of the chosen one.
Yeah. So dad was chosen to come down, and the goal was very simple: get a university education here, learn English, go get an oil and gas job, because it was all advertised even over there, like opportunity over here, make a living. And my dad came down originally to do engineering, was what he thought he was going to do. But I got to preface too, my dad is a really good soccer player, Like he played professional in Hong Kong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, underage. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. My grandpa had to forge his documents.
So that's where that's where your athletic ability naturally comes from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My dad was definitely an athlete for sure. And then he was super good in soccer, but the soccer over there does not pay.
And here at the time, there probably barely was any. It was all about hockey.
it wasn't about sports. My grandma wanted him to come down here as well to get educated, learn English. I mean, they just had enough wherewithal to know. Basically, America and North America was at that time like the dominant superpower, right? Well, the U.S. was anyway. They just kind of grouped Canada with U.S. without really understanding. So but Dad came down first, and he told me he had a total complete panic attack. 17, doesn't speak any English, by himself, but he saw other immigrants on the plane that were his age. They were all obviously coming down for the same reasons. So he formed a little tight crew almost overnight. They all were freaking out.
Yeah, they were all familiar.
Yeah.
So it's nice then to have somebody or have a group around you anyway that
he
still understand what you're going through.
Yeah, they all freaked out together, really. And then because they had to find the story was Dad had to find his way from the airport to a taxi, specifically to get to a Canadian family's house that was going to be housing them.
I bet you any money he flew into Edmonton.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Because that would be the capital. I think there was more.
I just know that it was Red Deer first where he settled in for whatever, maybe a couple months. Then he went to Calgary. Yes. And then when he was in Calgary, it was he had to take a little bit of like post-secondary catch-up school, but just 1 or 2 courses. Then he went to the University of Calgary. Right.
And
he was learning
taking English for sure.
Yeah, his English was improving really super quick because my dad picked up a bunch of jobs. Like he was a janitor, he was a cab driver, he did the typical immigrant thing at 17, 18, and then he formed a tight bond with all the other young guys that were all coming down, and there was a bunch of young girls too. There was literally like a community of them that came down. They all didn't know each other. It was just they all, within a matter of months, there was this Chinese community, all of 18-year-olds without their parents' supervision, all coming in and immigrating, and they all kind of naturally just found the Chinatown, and then like so they had like a cool little mini community there. And my mom's older sister was part of that crew. And then she, kind of got my mom to come down for the same general reasons years later. And then my dad kind of like met my mom through like that social circle. Yeah, but they had a whole entire mini Chinese crew.
That's what we were talking about with Vivian.
Yeah.
About how important community is, especially when you're new to a country. Like I know when I moved countries, I definitely look for community and felt, and just a place that somebody understood what you were going through.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right. So have you been back to Hong Kong? Have you?
Yeah, I've been a bunch. Yeah, I've been to Hong Kong 4 or 5 times, maybe, or is it 4 times? Anyway, I don't know the exact amount because some of them I was a baby.
Right.
So but as far as trips where I can fully remember, I was there I think 5 years ago, and then I was there again. We stopped in Hong Kong to go to Vietnam, so that was another time. At least 3 times in the last 7 years, I'd say. So,
I'm wondering. Well, that'll be a question for your father if he noticed a difference between when Hong Kong was still British, which would have been 1999, would be when that's when it was passed over then to China, and if he noticed a difference in his trips over the years.
I noticed a difference.
Yeah, you noticed it?
Oh yeah. There's like Hong Kong is a huge city. There's 11 million people in it, but for sure, like there's definitely there's not hard feelings, but there's a weird energy when it comes to the mainland Chinese people talking to local Hong Kong people, because Hong Kong people speak Cantonese, mainland Chinese people speak Mandarin, mainland China they operate communist. Hong Kong is essentially a capitalist society, right? Like it's all about business and so completely different political views. And I'm not gonna lie, even when I went down there, like there was a couple the people we went down there with, they're Chinese Canadians now going back to Hong Kong for a trip, but like they would get super pissed off when there's like a mainland Chinese guy walking towards like our group. We're just trying to get into a restaurant. He just walks through everyone as if we're like second rate, because like the mainland Chinese people literally look down on a lot of Hong Kong citizens because they're looking like we're kind of lending you, like, we're going to take you back. And
Yeah.
now we're taking you back. Like, so there is a superiority complex crap going on there. Not with every one of them,
No.
but it's enough to notice a trend to
It's sort
label
of
a
an energy
stereotype.
as a whole. And,
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, there's definitely some kind of, something's going on there for sure. Yeah.
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 I know. It's like, well, what can I say?
Yeah.
That would just be a really interesting trip. Has Hong Kong like also grown in its population over the years? Like I said, because it is only a certain kind of landmass area, so
Probably.
it has to
Probably.
go up.
It's dense. Like, you've been to
Right.
New York at all?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like that. Because, like, I think your 5 super cities is Tokyo, New York, Hong Kong,
Singapore,
and then is it Moscow one, or I
and then you
forget.
have Mexico City, which is if you take in the shanty towns all around the city, you're looking at about 34 million.
Fuck, 34 million
Yes.
in Mexico City?
Yes.
Are you serious? Like, hold on, like, let's 34 million. The entire Canadian population is in Mexico City.
Yes.
Wow.
I think the last time I looked it up, I think it was like 28 million in the city itself.
Oh my God.
And then you have a population that is
that.
not really in the sense in the consensus or the what's that when they come to your door and ask how many people
Census.
Census, yeah. So then there's quite a few that are not in the census because you have people
Right.
coming from all over Mexico, Guatemala, from all the way from South to Central America, coming up through to work, to go where the jobs are. There isn't necessarily always the jobs.
Yeah, well, just look at how many people there are. Like, it's what did you
it'd be like 2 hours to get from one side of the city to the one end to the other.
What'd you think? Like, what do you like more?
I loved it.
You loved it, right? Yeah, there was pros and cons for sure. It was definitely, your mind never rests. I noticed you never feel alone.
No,
because there's just literally someone fucking right here. Like, even
I can't
if
believe you said that.
you know, like,
because I've said that, like, you can stand in the middle of New York City and like feel really alone at the same time,
really,
but yet you're never alone. Do you know what I mean? Because you're alone in your own mind.
Oh.
But literally, like, you to go and find like a corner to sit in and not.
Yeah, I just know with Hong Kong, there's just people everywhere. And something is always going on. Like, you're hearing sounds. You have to literally go to your room if you have one, because a lot of them live in flats. But it's first world. Like, it's just there's so many people. Like, but this podcast room might be 3 people living in here, and it's actually cool how their apartments look
and the design.
Everything's efficient.
Yes,
you know, like, it's, you know, like, you're literally. So sometimes I think about, I'm like, that's actually kind of fun if you have 3 friends living in a situation like this, because it's kind of like a cozy sleepover, like when you were a kid, right? It's just no one really has a room
in a hostel.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like your actual house that is where you reset. But people are very, like, they stay at home just to essentially eat and rest,
right?
And like, a lot of people don't ever get groceries because there's so many. You just go downstairs and there's like 20 little small hole in the wall noodle shops with only 5 seats. So you just sit there and you know, and like it's quick. It's I actually like that. I like the convenience of the hustling and stuff. But too many people, man.
Right. Is there any foods that when you were there that you ate that, like,
I love the food.
Never like, did you step outside? Like, I mean, for me, eating a scorpion would not be.
Honestly, Rachel, I eat anything that ever was alive. I'm just such a carnivore kind of guy. Yeah, I'm disgusting like that. I'll eat anything. Yeah, like anything. I like whatever, as long as there's a good texture, I'll put it in my mouth. Obviously, you know, there's that stereotype that certain Chinese people eat dogs or whatever. Like no, I won't put that in my mouth. Okay, no, I grew up on this side. The pets, I bonded with them. Like, I have 3 cats. I love dogs. Like, those animals are off limits, but anything else I will eat.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show the culture in every different parts of the world, where one place something is just not normal, and not okay, and another place it's been like that for thousands of years.
But it's tricky. Like, we are animals at the end of the day with a consciousness, so we eat each other,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, you can have a bunny rabbit that's cute, but at the end of the day, if that's not my pet and I'm in the wild, you can bet I'm gonna fire an arrow, kill that bunny skin and eat it. Like, it's, I don't want to just eat plants. I love meat.
I would be I'm definitely a carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be able to kill.
Like,
I would send you out to kill and hunt, and skin it, and then I would cook it.
Yeah. Deal. I mean, I think that's how it's been for forever. Yes. I've never bow hunted, but that's something that I'm constantly thinking about, like because of Cameron Haynes, that guest on Joe Rogan's podcast. Like, love that guy's work. I know he gets flack because the vegan community just thinks what he's doing is unnecessary because he doesn't need to go out and hunt. But there's the way he's hunting that is it's humane because he gets so good with a bow. He only hits elk that are at a certain age, so they're on their way out. They're not going to procreate anymore
during hunting season. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. Do I agree? No. Do I understand? And yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not my place to judge anybody in regards to that. So could I do it? And do I want to hear about it? Not really. But I completely understand the reason for it. Or if you have an overpopulation of anything, not humans, we need more humans.
Yeah.
An overpopulation of a certain animal in an area can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah. Everything is interrelated. Like any ecosystem is interrelated.
Everything for a reason. Mm-hmm. So now let's go back to you again. When did you start in sports, and what was the first sport you started in?
So I was always super into martial arts. I don't know where that came from. Ever since I was a kid, I literally gravitated towards fighting. Like I loved Ninja Turtles, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. I love Thundercats, He-Man, like anything with a man with a hyper.
Ninja Turtles.
I love Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I got my whole family into karate when I was little. I just had this calling for like fighting. I was obsessed with. I remember even thinking off the jump when I was a kid, like the mechanics of throwing a punch. Like how do you generate more power with it? I don't know, and I still am fascinated with that. So my first sport was like karate, if you will. Yeah.
And there's a large discipline. I mean, I think that's a great sport, male or female, to get a kid into because there is a discipline. But I think it plays out in all of your life. And Rogan talks about that.
Oh yeah.
He talks about that a lot, about the discipline and where it probably had kept him out of a lot of trouble that he might have gotten into.
Yeah.
Because you really do have to be disciplined and focused. And if you've got that kind of strength, you need to know that you have it.
Yeah.
And use it. You don't walk around throwing your weight around.
Well, I got when I was 12, actually, I had a horrible thing happen to me. So at that point, I've been doing karate for a long time. And I thought, and within karate class, like I was a brown belt as well. And then people might ask what karate I took. It wasn't Kyokushin. It wasn't Shotokan or whatever. It was your classic karate point sparring one, to be honest. And it was a very large community class, karate class. You literally fit 100 kids in the auditorium. But I remember even then, I was like, this art is incomplete. And even though I'm disciplined learning it, I just knew, I think this isn't going to work in a real fight. But anyway, when I was 12, me and this other Chinese kid, we were both hitting puberty, if you will. So we both liked the same girl. And then we went to different junior highs. And I had friends in his junior high. But anyway, the girl also knew both of us. And we used to meet because our bus stops, even though from different schools, kind of intersected. I took the city bus home. This kid took the school bus. But anyway, so we would always cross paths just seeing each other. But anyway, long story short, egos escalated even at 12. And then the girl she didn't even know. I don't know if she subconsciously knew what she was doing, but she was almost entertained pitting us against each other. So then I ended up getting out of this.
A bit of an ego boost to a pubescence.
Yeah, and
the girl going through puberty.
Well, also the girl,
we're as silly as you guys are.
She was blonde and a white girl, and we were Chinese boys, and and we both had very Chinese home lives up to that point. So I mean, not that interracial marriages are anything wrong with it, but I mean, because almost everyone is in it now, but back then it was even the 90s, it was still not as normal, right? So it was already this weird thing where he was thinking hey, not every Chinese boy can hang out with a white chick. So because if we all do that, then it's not as cool. I don't know what the mentality was, but that was basically what he was saying to me in Cantonese. I'm going to be the cool Asian kid that gets to be with a white girl. I remember being like, "You're a dork," and that's not going to happen, man.
Yeah, not on my watch.
Kind of. Well, no, I genuinely thought he was a dork.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you're just being honest.
Yeah. Well, brutal. And then he started disliking me over the months because I kind of actually referred to him as dork and like didn't use his name. Like, and then so I kind of had it coming, I guess. And then finally that one day I was at the bus stop and the entire bus stop emptied. We're talking about 30 kids and the bus driver. And the bus driver, in hindsight now, was like a 40-year-old pot smoking dork as well. Like long hair, like, and he literally came out. I remember walking up to my two friends that were going to their junior high. I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, well, you're fighting so-and-so. That's what they all told us at our school. Everyone's like, they got ready for this. I'm sitting here like, I have no backup. I'm here by myself. I guess you guys are my backup, but you guys go to this school. And then this bus driver is literally like, I heard it's going to be like a fight or something. Like, I'm being serious. Like, the complete negligence as a parent is happening before our very eyes. So then I'm like, I do like fighting. I sparred a bunch in karate class and I was up for it. But I just knew this wasn't going to end well for me because like the kid hit puberty a little bit earlier than me. So he was a little bit bigger already. And so I was pretty small, but so the fight starts off and I do my dumb karate stance. Like, and then what does he do? He does an American football style tackle, tackles me to the ground. And right away I'm like, yeah, I knew there was a glaring hole in this art. I remember thinking, and then the kid proceeds to bash my face in. And then his friends jump in and like everyone's watching and 4 kids kick the shit out of me and like wild hyenas. And I'm just sitting there like just kind of bleeding out my mouth. And then my 2 friends were complete pussies. They like disappeared to the back of the crowd. And I remember like it was kind of done. And then that kid, he walked off. And oh, by the way, his whole crew was also Chinese kids. So like this whole thing looks bizarre, like in hindsight, because all these, I was like, all these Canadian kids, but only the Chinese kids are fighting over the white chick who ends up choosing none of us.
Right.
I remember sitting there just being like, just bleeding out my mouth. And then I actually end up, one of the kids in that crew ends up coming back to have a second go at me all day, even though I was on the ground. Like this kid's what a hero he is, right? He's like, I want to fight him now because I know I could beat him one-on-one because he's already been beat. And I remember, but by then the crowd had left. So now there's this like weird round 2 thing happening. And then my dorky 2 friends who are and they're bigger white kids. Like they should have been able to jump in and do something, but I ended up fighting this guy again. And then I kind of beat him in a weird way because I hit him in the stomach and then he kind of went, oh, okay, no more. And it was this most awkward time. It was raining too, Rachel. I walked home, raining, bleeding. My clothes were torn up. I walked home. My mom was just, what? Like just crying when I came, like, what happened to you? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, I don't even know. And then my dad, he was super pissed. And I remember like the rage in his face because he was like, dude, I have to like become a gangster myself all of a sudden and get after this kid's dad. Like all sorts of like, it was just I was actually traumatized because like I'd never been beat up like that from a bus stop. And also, you didn't get the girl anyway. And then the rude awakening for how many years we were doing karate and it actually does nothing. Like nothing when you complete it to the totality of a fight. So that happened. I remember after that in my mind that triggered this whole, I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to always be training in some way to get my body in shape in case I have to fight someone or multiple people. And I'm not just going to use karate. Like, so I started doing some wrestling in junior high. By the time I was 18, I did some boxing. I did some, then I transitioned over to straight MMA when I was 19 at a gym. I was already obsessed with watching UFC and everything. Did some jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, wrestling again. No gi jiu-jitsu, which is the jiu-jitsu without the pajamas. Because there's two types. The jiu-jitsu with the pajamas, with the gi, it's designed to simulate clothes. Right. So that's why you grab the collar and because in the street, if someone's often wearing a jacket and stuff. So, but the no gi is just simply just wearing shorts. Like it's designed to be like the sport version, like in MMA. You have your gloves, so then you're not going to learn the same techniques because you don't have a gi, you don't have a shirt to grab or nothing, right? So yeah, I did all that, and honestly, nothing's changed. To this day, I train all the time. I might not partake in martial arts as much anymore because I'm getting old, but I think for the rest of my life, I'll be always working out and this and that. But it stemmed from that trauma. That trauma completely, my interest in fighting went from like this to,
So as much of it as a bad experience it was, it actually took your life in a different direction.
Totally.
And you're incredibly healthy because of it.
I wouldn't say.
And you'll probably live very long because you're very healthy because of it.
The only healthy thing I do is I train all the time.
Well, that's healthy.
That's it. Otherwise,
that's healthier than 90% of us.
I drink, smoke, eat fast food. don't exactly sleep well. Yeah, no, that's the only healthy thing I do. But I know what to do. I'm always researching health and fitness, but do I do it myself outside the training? No.
Yeah.
But I will. But right now I still feel very good, and I'm kind of getting away with it without having to, all of a sudden just eat rice and meat but without sauce, so
Yeah, you're like my husband. He can just eat everything and he still just looks thin and fit, and I just gain weight watching him eat.
Rachel, you told me you fought in Muay Thai when you were younger. That was something that you told me the other day, and I was like, yeah.
I was in my 30s, and yes, it started from a traumatic experience. Where I said, that's not going to happen to me again.
What happened with yours? If you want to
share. That'll be for another time.
Okay.
That'll be for another time.
Okay.
Yeah, lesson learned. But no, I walk different. And I think you walk different. Like, even if I'm going to, like, through a parkade to my car.
Yeah.
I walk completely different than I would have.
Yeah, you definitely know the world's not a safe place anymore.
Right. And you're aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
You're prepared at any moment for someone to jump out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think also that's where my temper kind of developed because of that experience. Like I remember I have it like singed in my mind, like, do not ever back down. Because if you back down, it means, like, I literally remember being 12 on the ground, like, getting like not just shoes on my face. Just
this
shoes.
Isn't happening again.
Yeah, like in any way. So like, but I take it to too much of an extreme. So so I try to control it. But that first knee jerk reaction is always like to retaliate. And I don't know. Sometimes it's worked out in good ways, but sometimes it doesn't. Like I've been in loads of bar fights, and that absolutely could have been avoided if I just like looked the other way,
smiled and nodded.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's also like annoying when you see someone just think that they can just act like that and not, because no one's in their circles has checked them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they keep walking around like a cocky asshole, and it's like, dude, everyone can whoop your ass. You shouldn't be acting like that or talking like that unless you're ready to fight someone.
Put your fist where your mouth is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. No, I completely agree. So now I want to go into, because I want to bring this to how you got here.
Oh, to Kaks? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were working at the Stampede grounds. That would be in the events and different things.
I was just a waiter. It was just a part-time job to make money because I was going to university.
Right. What were you taking in university?
Yeah, so my degree is in unemployment. It was a communications degree, but that does nothing. And I knew that does nothing. But my minor is in sociology. And again, that kind of does nothing. And I knew it does nothing. But Dad at the time totally had enough money to pay for university. He told me, hey, you don't know what you're doing with your life? I'm like, not really. I know I like fighting and stuff. But he's like, are you going to be a pro fighter? And I was training a bunch. But same time, I was like, I don't actually know how this goes towards making money, because like the path to UFC was not like solidified. There's just Nick Ring really, and Brad Cardinal and the late Max Marin from Canuckles, like, that were doing it locally, and those guys got pretty far, and but they never made good money.
No,
like they had to get regular jobs after. Nick's bodies was really messed up, and Brad did some cool stuff after he started his own gym, but I just remember Dad saying, like, get into oil and gas like me. I'm like, okay. But I'm like, but within oil and gas, what is that? What do you have to do? What does that mean? Because I thought it literally meant go into a rig and drill. And like, my dad's like, no. Like, there's a business called oil and gas. There's a whole other section of it where you don't have to go up to the rigs. There's the accounting department, the law, surface land, HR.
Yeah.
And like, so then I was like, oh, okay. And then at the time I was thinking, like, none of these really interest me, but then my dad's like, just get a degree first, because you need a degree to even apply for these jobs. So, but my dad's like, not a dancing degree. He's like, get an academic degree. So then I just literally went to the counselor and I said, I'm just basically firing through this 4 years. Like, but my brain was more set on partying and hanging out with people. And so they're like, well, there's a thing called general studies. It's kind of like you just take whatever you want. As long as it's not full, you take it, and you just amass 40 credits and you'll graduate like everyone else. And it is a degree.
And it also, I think, gives you then the opportunity to try a bunch of different things to see, like, maybe you find something that you like.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a great place to start.
Yeah. And it did work out for me, because because paying for school wasn't an issue. So I wasn't, my dad's like wasn't stressing about that. Not that he was super rich, but it was like wasn't an issue. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a whole bunch of stuff I like. And I remember I took philosophy, history, no psychology classes because they were super busy, but I sat in a psychology lectures because I found it fascinating. A lot of social sciences and the actual communications. There was 5 classes you had to take. But again, to this day, I don't even know what those were. I remember going in and the class was just so random. It was like, one, we just watched some movies. The other, there's a professor with a PhD, again, in communications, which, again, I'm not to this day. Like, I have the degree and I don't really know what it was because it was just so random. Some classes was multiple choice. Some was like one. I'll give you an example. One was I read Adam Smith's The Invisible Hand, and then he's like, give me a lecture on that. Give the class a lecture on that. I'm like, okay, but isn't this more like a philosophy class, And then we did that, and I nailed it, and but then afterwards, like the next class, we watched like a movie, like literally Forrest Gump. So I'm like, what? Like, and this is a university course.
Forrest Gump in university. Yeah.
It made no sense. But the class cost a bunch. The professor him and I got along because he was like a gym bro guy, and I saw him in the gym anyway. But in hindsight, he didn't know what he was doing because I was 19, 20, and he was probably 27. Like, I'm way older now than that when he was teaching me. And,
right.
And in hindsight, he was not a good teacher. But I don't know. That's why I think university, to be honest, is kind of a joke.
It's kind of becoming a bigger joke than even it was before.
Yeah. The only thing I like about it was during those 4 years, I got to actually work out at the university gym. Right. I did martial arts. I played basketball. I hung out with friends. I partied a lot. I met a bunch of girls. And I also worked part-time jobs. Like I learned, I had a well-balanced life, but the actual schooling part, I will say you don't need it. Yeah, you're better off just doing stuff and getting real experience. But the social life aspect was fun, and I don't regret that. That was super fun.
And when you went down your list of your classes, it makes perfect sense to me. Because it's sort of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're communicating.
Yeah.
You're talking, depending on who you're talking to, you're either talking. There's a little bit of psychology in there, getting to know them, being interested in them, trying to figure them out. There's a little bit of history in there, depending on what the subject is, or even the history of the MMA. There's a history in there. So that makes perfect sense. And even though you may not have, gathered a lot of education but
useful education.
But you actually are applying those same subjects
but
directly to your life.
But it caused a bit of a facade because I sound smart and I can come off smart, but useful skills, like Cass is way more useful than me. But I'm useful now as in I'm talking, I'm creating a show and so people can listen. But as far as I didn't do engineering and I didn't do a trade. So I actually don't know how to do those things, right? Like I'm learning them now as a full grown man using YouTube every time. And it's and I have to take longer because I have to actually.
But that's amazing. Now, personally, I would say that would make you smarter than the average Joe because not everybody could sit there and.
Cass literally wired the whole cable box situation, from the back room. I didn't even begin to know what that meant. I was because he's let's do this. And I was okay. So I whipped out my phone and I said, I'm gonna call Shaw. And then he's no. I said, we're doing it. I'm oh, you know how? He's yeah, man. I hung out with Curly and did electrician stuff and this and that. And I was oh. So again, I feel a bit of a facade sometimes because I don't know these things. Well, I can learn them now, but it's kind of I should know them.
In my experience, the best partnerships have different skills. And if you two had the exact same skill,
we really need the other one. Really.
Right. So I mean, you have a different skill set that comes to this. Yeah. And I think it's really important. And I've watched them, talk out things and go over ideas.
Talk out things.
And I don't mean talk out in a rude way. It's it's this way of putting things off each other. What do you think about this and what about this?
Oh,
and
yeah.
What about this?
Yeah.
And even at points in times where there has been just say they don't agree on the same thing. But no matter what, they find. I've always watched you guys find a way to get through, and we're
adults at the end of the day, and we're like, there's so much going on here. There's no way you can get through this without disagreeing. There's just way too much. I mean, I'm surprised sometimes. I'm scratching my head we got here. when I really think back to when we started talking about it,
that was my next question going to be, when did you guys start talking about this?
Oh, maybe 5 years ago we started talking about this. I always knew in my brain I wanted podcasts at around since I saw Joe Rogan's first one, because when I watch his content, I'm like, dude, I can talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Because of like all that random schooling I had, and I'm only getting better at it because of my life experience now catching up. And then on top of that,
you're interested.
I'm interested. Yeah, I like talking to people. And then so I always knew I was going to podcast. I just didn't know how it was going to fit into making money. And well, I guess in a way I still don't know. But anyway,
anybody wants to rent the booth?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like and subscribe because once we get enough subscribers, then we can actually make some money off this. And please help us. No one's rich here.
Right.
But Cass was always saying he wanted to start his own bar, restaurant, and he knows what he's doing on that side. He's ran bars and restaurants, so that and then one day it was just like out of nowhere, it just clicked. I was like, podcast bar in a bar, and at the time Cass didn't really think too much of it because even the way I thought, the original concept was a booth, not a room.
Right.
Literally just a little corner booth. Like, hey, put up your phone and just record yourself talking. Like, it wasn't supposed to even have a computer. It's just put your phone up, hit record, and have some drinks. Like, we're having drinks at this bar.
I remember you guys talking about that.
It wasn't this well thought out thing, but then
it's still something you can put in though. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's simple. Anyone can do that. And then but then as it progressed, I was like, let's do a full show. Like, let's go. I'm gonna be a podcaster. Right. I remember Cass just being, and our other partners at the time, because Kaks originally had 4 people. They were just like, yeah, actually, and then but no one really registered that. Hey, this actually never been done before until we went and incorporated, and then they were saying like, are you a podcast business or a bar business? And I said, one business, bar and podcast. And then the lady's like, there's not been any of these as of today. So, and I'm like, and then the vision started coming, and then it turned into this very natural, organically. And then sometimes I don't even think that was my idea. I think it was God's idea.
Right. Yeah.
Something like, cause it just came, it's like, I don't remember consciously, like Rachel, like how do ideas come to you? Did you consciously manifest it, or was there a certain part of literally you're just thinking about something else and
yes. Pretty much, yeah. I'm thinking about something else. I'm doing something else. I was thinking about something that somebody said to me 2 weeks ago, and it'll come into my head. I'll go, oh, and if I do it with this, oh, and then I have to write it down.
Yeah.
Because there is no, as I said to you earlier, there is no space left for any more things in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to take some things out to make space. So I write everything down, or I go right to my phone and to my notes. I prefer to write it down by hand. I find it always better to move the pen.
Yeah.
For some reason, by moving the pen, I think it stays longer. Because you're writing it, you're reading it while you write it.
My writing's so bad now, though. It looks like someone has arthritis, so I can't even read my own writing sometimes. I have to type it.
Yeah, the kids have always told me to print my notes. Yeah. Don't write them. But I was taught cursive. Yeah. And it's an easier, faster flow for me. But the kid, I'll leave them a note on the, when they were teenagers, leave them a note on the table, like dinner's in the fridge or something, and they'll go, what does that say? And I'm like, so I had to learn to actually print things out. But
they think it's a suicide note.
Yeah, oh my God, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5 years ago, you guys started talking about it.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of this is 5 years of hard work and focus.
In a way, yeah, I guess you're right.
Or I would say probably the last year
well,
and
we
a
didn't
half
take
was
action.
Real, really
I remember
planning.
when Cass and I called each other, and he was working at the Guild, and then I was working at OJ's, and it was just him and I talking on the phone, and he said, I'm serious about doing this. Are you? And then I said, yeah, I am too. Let's see if the other fellas are. And then we had a meeting, a full-blown meeting, and we literally brought our computers, and it's like, and then we sat in so-and-so's, we sat at so-and-so's house, and everyone at the moment was serious. They were serious. And then we started like realizing, I remember, because Cass and I have always been into the same self-improvement stuff. So so we basically like kept quoting self-improvement stuff to each other about, hard work, not hard work, like actual hard work, as in sleep even takes a back seat. Like if you're awake, you're working.
Right.
What does work mean? It means anything that helps create this.
Anything that helps create your dream or your goal.
Yeah, and then
Right.
we develop that mentality of like never stop working, period, like always working. And some people don't like that because they want to chill. But I've kind of learned now chilling isn't all that it's cracked up to be, because working is what it literally brings me alive in every way. It's so it's not always fun, to be honest. Most days aren't fun now, but I don't even care about fun now. Like I want to be my next form. That's what I give a shit about. Like I want to be. I just like 20 years from now, Rachel, I want to be on a jet, not being cocky about it. Like I'm on a jet to do a charity, and then to go to some science lab where they're recreating my physical structure, and I get an even better one. And then I'm actually like doing some weightlifting challenge, and then I'm flying back to like living in a house with my wife and maybe kids, maybe not. Hopefully there's kids there, and then from there, like innovating another idea, and then this business hopefully will have taken care of itself, and podcasting will have already been this other chapter of good times that's evolved to, I don't know, VR podcasting or hologram podcasting, where I'm meeting people. I'm always getting smarter and better, and actually getting smarter. I don't mean like the university smart where I said
no, you're life smart.
I mean doing stuff smart, as in, oh, that spaceship just exploded. I'm like, I know how to fix that. Like, I just run
get my cape.
Yeah, exactly. Like I kind of want to just be a superhero now. Like I literally picture like I want to be actually Iron Man in real life.
Right.
Like if there are aliens coming towards the planet and there's some great cause, like some great war, like like I'm always fascinated by someone like Sir Winston Churchill and was it who else was well, I'm just when that guy, the weight of his shoulders was on, the weight of the world was on him, and he stepped up. He kept it together while everyone else had to turn to a leader. Like I want to be that, and for no other reason other than I know I can.
Right, so, Eisenhower was in the U.S.
There you go. Yeah. So I mean, during that period, and then even forget those guys, like just anyone in history that's been like super able to help humans get through the darkest times. Like right. I want to be that guy. I want to make it so I can be that guy. Like I want to be one of the Avengers, like.
And no matter where you are in the world today, there is some place that is going through dark times.
Yeah.
No matter, like, if we spin the globe and you're going to find 10 places that are going through absolutely horrible, whether it be famine, whether it be war.
Yeah.
It just goes on all the time.
And I find that this business is like people might be thinking, oh, they're just running a bar. Like, this is hard, man. And but every ounce of me is into this. Like every day I'm learning another video editing thing, and then we're trying to brainstorm how to make money from this part, and we're working on marketing. The amount of people I'm talking to through podcasting, like I'm leveling up constantly through this little almost training portion of my life, and I know this will apply to the next thing I do, and because it's going to be the same hardness in that realm, but now I'm ready for it. And whereas most people just want to chill, and I just don't think like that anymore. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I still like enjoy chilling, I guess, but not really. Like
if everybody was the same, it'd be pretty damn boring.
Yeah.
It'd be really damn boring.
Yeah.
And I mean, we need everybody to be different. And it's probably as good to take a day or a couple of hours and just make sure you take care of Shawn. And for you, that's likely the gym.
That is literally the gym.
Right.
That is my time off.
Right.
But right now, Cass and I just have way too much to do. And so people, support us. Come down, buy food and drinks. They are good.
I have to tell you, I'm working my way through the menu.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm having today. Mm-hmm. I'm having the smoky tomato soup, which is all homemade, with the grilled cheese sandwich.
Shout out to Chef E-Man.
Right. And then my next one I planned my next one as well, which will be the crispy chicken.
Oh yeah, I think I had that today. That
I've heard
super good.
Really, really good things. Mm. So if I could sit down and eat through the menu entirely in one day, I would. Mm. But amazing chef, amazing staff, amazing food.
Yeah.
Like what you guys put together here as I'm looking around is mind-blowing. Mm. And I remember coming down and visiting when it was just a big empty space. Yeah.
But we, Cass and I, we're not marketers, and like we're learning the hard way now. It truly is it's a real field. So right now, like when people are watching this right now, it's like we could do better in letting people know we're open. So like we are open,
Yes.
you know, and
Yes.
we're gonna see our ads everywhere now. Like we're hitting pounding the pavement again here, because the construction's finally done, the bar operation's finally set in motion, the podcast finally has a rhythm to it. Yeah, like thank you, Rachel. You're gonna be like hosting some episodes now.
I'm gonna host some
mixing it up. People are gonna rent the rooms.
Yeah, and look, I think you're being a little hard on yourself.
No.
Really? No. I mean, you're right,
Yeah.
but you're also wrong.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of that's wrong, because I remember when these guys were building this, and you know there was like anything. I mean, if you're building anything, look at putting up a pub tent, right? And you put one wrong goes in the wrong thing, and you got to start. So there was in any kind of construction, there's always little tiny delays, or this or that, or this person didn't show up on time, and that person. So even being able to plan out your marketing, you know, like for what day. It would depend on the refrigerator repair guy, or it'll depend on the electrician. Oh, did the guys come in and paint yet? Or this on the floor. So I think you guys were dealing with everything as best you could, and very, very well as you were coming up. And now it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks today, Shawn.
Yeah, but
14 days. So every day you guys are taking another step forward. You've got another plan. I think you're doing awesome.
No, thank you, Rachel, but you know, but you're very kind, and but reality is the number. At the end of the day, I kind of have a results mentality now. I'm like,
yes,
where's it? Like, don't get me wrong, we have a nice late night crowd going right now, and it looks like that's going to continue, and I'm down for that, because as long as I sleep from 3 a.m. till 9 a.m. and get that 6 hours in that range, I can power through and do anything throughout the whole day. I can work nonstop. Which is what me and Cass have been doing. And Cass also juggles his 10-month-old baby Car, right? yeah. She's so cute.
I do a lot of babysitting.
Yeah. Car's hilarious. And shout out Nicole for motherhood. Car's shaping along. But I am results guy. I don't care. It's been 2 weeks. I'm like, we should have found a way to have everyone know about this thing. Like, cause I pounded the pavement around the local businesses here. None of them heard about us. And I was like, man, I can't believe I thought that they heard about us.
They will come.
You know,
Field
like,
of dreams.
yeah, I literally thought that they heard about us. Like, just cause the social media and just walking around, but it's like, I'm like, Shawn, you once again, you're in a whole other realm now. That's not your forte. So just know, like, this is as hard as when it was starting the business. This whole other section now is like when you were learning MMA for the first time. So now you're in another craft now. It's called marketing.
Right.
So we're upping our marketing game now. Some things are subjective that I didn't even realize. Like, for instance, I thought our Instagram page was pretty good, but then recently I had a marketer really point out Instagram pages that have thousands of followers, and now it's so obvious what we were doing wrong that I was like, oh my God.
When you go to your page and you can see all the pictures at one time.
Yeah.
Did you ever see any way? And they actually have them set in such a way that it actually is not
It's neat.
picture.
It's tidy. It draws the eyes. And then
color.
Yeah. Rachel, it's almost like, did you ever buy an outfit that you thought looked great? And then like maybe a few weeks later, you're like, what was I thinking? Like, I don't know. Or
probably I do tend to bring honest girlfriends with me.
Okay.
If I do try them on.
Yeah.
I want a girlfriend that says, no, your ass looks big in those. Thank you. Put them back.
Okay. So like, but when they finally pointed out,
yes.
But aren't you kind of like, oh fuck, I didn't even look at it like that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe and now you can't unsee it.
Right.
And now you feel ridiculous I'm like, how many people noticed that? I mean, I didn't notice that.
No.
So
it's perspective.
Yeah. And that's just things that I'm noticing now. And Cass had the same things for some things. So so I'm not being hard on myself, but right now I'm more results guy. Like, it's like if we're a hockey team, it's like we started off 5-0 in the first 5 games, but now we're like 5-5.
Right.
I'm like, time to win again, man.
Right.
Like, what are we doing wrong here?
Yeah.
Like, but I know it's marketing. So, when people see this, like, we're around Kaks Bar and Podcast, 1006 First Street Southeast.
Once you come
11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Right. So they're open for lunch now.
Yeah.
Once you come in hungry. Once you come in and you have some of Eman's cooking, I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. and come in
like,
for
and
the good
I'm
times.
I'm a fussy eater.
Oh, okay.
So that's my thing. I'm a really fussy eater.
Mm.
Like, texture is big for me, right? Like, you say, I'll just eat anything.
Yeah, as long as meat.
That's not me.
Yeah.
So it's just delicious, and the drinks are a good price, and happy hour.
Yeah.
I mean, what is happy
It's
hour?
like $5 everything, basically. Like, it's on our website. Like, the drinks are definitely $5. We have good prices, man.
In Calgary, happy hour was $5.
I think
Before pandemic?
there's a couple bars that have done it, and we copied them, and they're kicking ass. That's why I'm like, they just don't know about us. But like, once they know, I think it's, again, like Cass and I have taken that on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, so we are being hard on ourselves, because we're like, it's like that's a glaring piece of this game that we just thought we had it handled, just because we do a couple clicks and posts. Like,
Right.
I can't believe I thought that, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's underneath the condo building. Everyone will know about it. You know, something I noticed, Rachel, is that people really are just on blinders all the time. Like, from the moment they leave their condo door, they actually probably have anxiety with the world, and they just, like, literally ads are flying left and right, and they don't even notice it.
Think about how much the last 2 years changed behavior.
Yeah.
Like, really seriously changed behavior.
What a horrible
all the way from children to seniors.
Yeah.
Where, you know, children weren't going to school. They didn't even learn about smiles because you couldn't see smiles.
Yeah.
So I think those last 2.5, 3 years certainly have changed behavior.
In all, like, negative ways.
Right. And that's where your marketers people got to come in and go, okay, so now the behavior's different. Which way do we go at it now?
Mm-hmm.
But, and I mean, the world is like that. It's everywhere now. There's screens everywhere. You know, your phone is going on all the time.
Yeah.
And I think probably people get outside and they just go,
Yeah, well, it must be because I've been doing a survey with everyone living in here. They're like, there's a bar downstairs. I'm like, there's a literally full blown bar restaurant. We have a pretty big sign, man.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just like, oh, and then I did a little experiment. I even said, like, do you know about the pizza place? And like, some of them don't. They just don't. They don't even look that way. They're just always like, headphones. Let me go. You know. But then I was guilty of that too, because I remember, like, Keynote around the corner. Like, just even that condo building. Like, there was, for the longest time, you know, like, I really didn't notice there was a Starbucks there. Like, but it was right in front of my
Starbucks there?
Yeah, right there, right
Okay.
across the street. Like, so
Because I just walked by
so right now,
twice this week.
there you go. So right now, it means that we're not doing a good job of really letting people know we're here. We did a great job letting our friends and family and their friends know, but we need to let strangers know we're here,
right?
And find a way to have them give a shit. Because even me pounding pavement all around these buildings. Look, I worked in bars. Like, you know, many people dropped off resumes, and I'm just like, oh, like, thank you, and then, like, you know, because I know I already know we're not going to hire them, and like, so like, I did that full well, and I tried to put a little bit of a different spin on when I was pounding the pavement, talking about the podcast and everything, but still, I can see when the eyes have a bit of a, they're like, and their face is like, oh yeah, but they're like, I'm like, okay, well, this didn't land. But still, here's a flyer. Maybe someone will see it. You know, it's you know. So right now, but there's a whole other art to marketing, and we're learning it right now. So yeah, I got professionals now coming. Fortunately, they're going to do the first round for free, and if I like it, then we're going to set up a way to pay them to do it all the time.
If they do it well, it'll pay for itself.
Yep.
I mean, it'll pay for the next round if they do it well. If they don't do it well, then it wasn't done well, and you definitely don't want to use them again. Yeah. So I think that's a great business plan on their part too, to show you what they can do. Yeah. Right. Yep. And buddy well, Jean-Claude, shout out. Yeah, we're doing that tomorrow. And every time you say Jean-Claude, I keep thinking Van Damme. Yeah, no, right? Literally, going, okay, which movie was my favorite? Yeah, I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. Love him. Except he had a pretty weird story with that Hell's Angels biker Chuck Zito. Did you hear about that story? Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not quite sure. Like, that's a little like, well, Chuck Zito really made it sound like Jean-Claude can't fight at all, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he can, but you've only heard it from Chuck Zito's side. Jean-Claude never addressed the story, even though, so unless there's some truth there, but then I'm like, well, you know, I don't know. That's kind of sucks. I mean, was he, like, again, in his earlier, was he ever like a fighter, or was he always a trainer? No, he apparently he had 200 fights in Holland. I mean, in Portugal? No. What is he? Yeah, it's not Portugal.
Brussels?
No, Brussels. That's exactly where I think.
No,
I'm pretty
it's
sure.
Dutch. It's Holland, right? Is Jean-Claude Van Damme from Holland?
No,
He's not French.
I think he.
He's okay.
Now we're gonna have to look it up. See,
yeah, I can't believe I love Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I would be looking that up, but I would have known this.
Yeah.
But I mean, he hasn't done really a lot of movies or anything. How old would he be now?
Jean-Claude's almost 60. He's got to be 60 something, Jean-Claude Van Damme. And then the Jean-Claude that I know from yesterday, I actually don't know how old he is. He won't tell us. So, so he just keeps like sheepishly like not saying anything. So I don't know. We get in touch with professional marketers here because I'm humble enough to ask for help.
Right.
When I realize I don't really know what I'm doing.
And look, anybody watching, comment.
Yeah.
Comment. If you've got some ideas, if you've worked in the industry, you haven't worked in, comment.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot them out, like, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rachel, you're so with your podcast segment here, like, is the goal to do that weekly or because I actually love the idea because you're going to tap into a
completely
different demographic, and that's what we want here.
Right.
We want this thing to spread. This isn't just my podcast. Like this is a Kaks Bar and Podcast. Like I've been trying to get my business partner to just shoot some nerd stuff because he loves that stuff, right? Yeah. So it's So I'm glad you're taking the reins on that and expanding it.
Yeah, but I don't think I'd be able to do it without you. That's for sure.
What do you mean, like the editing?
Like
stuff?
all the editing, yeah.
That does take time to learn. You're gonna have to do it a few times.
Took you, say, 6 months to learn?
Probably
less than that. Definitely less than that.
You can get the hang of it the first day, but it's just not going to look good. So, you can know where the buttons are, how to hit record, and you just use common sense for the checking of the sound, but then you start to play with it because there's something that you didn't understand was like, oh wow, I didn't hit noise cancellations, and then that's why you're hearing the echo, or you start to notice, oh, the guy talks far away from the mic here, and then that's something you start to be cognizant about to tell the guests. Then you notice when you're looking at the camera or you're looking like this,
right?
You start picking up on that in your own way. Then you start decorating the room a bit different, and then with the software, you start to memorize how to do it faster. It's like anything, so you can get the ball rolling quite quick. But to fine tune it's up to you how many hours you put in. Right. So I'm getting loads of practice because I do it all the time.
Right.
But if you do it once a week, you actually might need me to do it every time if you're not remembering. It's just like me if I dove into your realm of because you're a master colorist. Like say I dye someone's hair one time for 1 month.
Yeah.
Like I definitely might screw it up next time.
A couple of different trades, shall we say, or skills that I've done. Yeah. And master colorist came a little later. Well, I get in as a stylist, and then from there I went into photography, and I worked with a master photographer. I owned a studio for a while, and so then I went into sales in the salon and spa industry and marketing with all those 125 salons I took care of on a monthly basis.
Nice.
So
how did you market them then? Like what can we do better here? I know you said well, you said get the patio out, right? And then,
once that patio's out there, people know that this is a restaurant.
That's a licensing thing. But we're going to go forward, I think, and build it.
I did a lot of events. I created a lot of events. And, the internet was around then. Facebook, not so much. So a lot of it really was, I have to look back, because I've changed how I've done marketing compared to then. Because I sort of adapt. I don't want to be left behind. If anybody's read that book, Who Moved My Cheese, which is a really good book. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's a fast read. I always want to adapt. So I've sort of always been a business owner. Yeah. Within a skill. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we definitely need someone's expertise right now. Anyone. Like I'm a student for marketing now. Like I'm ready for it.
So you're behind the bar?
I'm going to be bartending now 3 days a week.
3 days a week, which is great.
Yeah.
So what days are you?
Sunday, I'll be closing the bar here. Monday, Tuesdays, I'll be opening the bar here. So podcasting, you won't see me podcasting those 3 days now. I'll be behind the bar and then probably doing my editing around because the editing is the other section of this job now. Right. So between bartending, editing, and filming, I have to juggle that now. But then the other 3 days, hopefully. Cass is also bartending right now, and then the other days will be our staff. But then all that other time we're going to be continuing how we're
Right.
doing it, evolving, marketing, meeting
Right.
people, going to networking events, literally handing out flyers, anything to continue to make our business go and to bring to you people the nice food, beverage, and good times here. Like, this is just a fun bar. Like,
Yes.
come down and hang out
Yeah.
all night, like the way people used to. I just don't get why. I just don't get why everyone comes in and drinks and just bounces. Like, back in the day, bars, you were there for
Right.
hours.
Yeah,
It was like a
right.
hangout.
Like,
You know?
depending on which bar, like, I would go out at like 8 o'clock at night. Most of the time I went 9:30, 10.
Yeah.
And that's where I stayed to closing.
Yeah.
And else it was there was an idiot or somebody in the bar or
Mhm.
something, and you'd go to another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was always, you were going out for that experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's like a whole thing, right?
thank you for your time.
Oh yeah,
Shawn.
sweet.
Like,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah, we
really,
definitely did an hour
Yeah.
already. Yeah. So
Cass says we're a lot alike.
I get
Who
yeah.
knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
But no, really, and I think you're doing great, and
Uh.
you're going every day. You're going to learn something new,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
just
yeah.
imagine what you'll know when you open your second place.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm definitely not patient.
No,
Yeah. So
no.
come on down to
No.
Kaks Bar and
Right.
Podcast.
No,
You
keep
know.
it up, and thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
Really, really great getting to know you on a
Okay.
different level.
Oh,
because
really? Okay.
We've always sort of been in passing.
Yeah, I
and
guess
of
you're
course,
right.
you put me on that seat last time, so
Yeah.
now I got to ask some questions that I've always wanted to know
Uh-huh.
about your family
Yeah.
and about martial arts and
Mm.
your
Yeah.
training.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So
Yeah.
we'll end here.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll end here. Okay, perfect. 1006 First Street Southeast. Come down to Kaks Bar and Podcast.
Woohoo!
Food, drinks, and get ready for Rachel's show. It's coming up soon with all of her network of friends and associates.
Great.
All right,
Thank you,
bye.
Shawn.
Thank you.